What's up, you guys? My name is Aubrey, this is my channel, and today we're going to be talking about business. You see, everybody wants to have the life of a successful entrepreneur. Or I guess I shouldn't say everybody, but most of you watching this channel probably do. You want to have those nice cars, the nice houses, you want to have all of the money, but the fact is, before you can get to that point, you actually need to start a successful business. And one of the very first steps of starting a successful business is choosing a successful business model. And that's exactly what we're going to be discussing today. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down 5 successful and profitable business models that you can pursue to start your very first business. I'm going to be breaking down how to get started with these, some good examples of them, as well as what each individual business model is. So let's get started. So whenever it comes to starting a business and making money, there are of course a lot of questions that need to be answered, and more often than not, you won't have the answer to any of these questions. But 2 questions that are very important are, number 1, what product or service do you want to offer? And number 2, what business model do you want to pursue? The second question is what we will be concentrating on in this video. Now, a business model is basically just the way in which your business conducts business. How does your business find customers? How do they sell products? And what does the distribution of that product look like? That is basically what a business model is in a really generalized sense. But whenever it comes to business models, there are literally dozens of different ones to choose from, and they're all unique and different in their own ways. And I would argue that none of them are better than others. It just really depends on what you are ultimately wanting to do and wanting to accomplish. But in this video, I want to talk about 5 popular ones, and I want to talk about 5 ones that I personally believe are really great ones to pursue. Now, the first one that I want to talk about is subscription model business models. And this is something that we've all heard and we've all spoken about and we've all probably used ourselves. Now, a subscription model business model is whenever you're selling a service or a product on a subscription basis, meaning that the user pays a monthly fee and they continue to pay that fee until they cancel them. Subscription models exist in both a physical product sense, a service sense, as well as a digital product sense. For example, you may have a subscription to Netflix or Apple Music, or you may have a subscription to the Dollar Shave Club or BarkBox, or you may have a subscription to like a gym, or you may have a lawn mowing subscription service. This type of business model exists in almost every different type of industry and sector, and it really is trying to decide, okay, how can you take this business model and how can you implement it for your business? Now, there are some really big advantages to going with a subscription business model, and one of the most notable advantages is the fact that there's a lot of predictability that comes along with having a subscription-based business. With a subscription business model, you have a pretty good idea of what revenue is going to be month by month. You probably also have a decent idea what your costs are going to be as well. With a subscription model, you also don't necessarily have to go and find every single customer for every single purchase, because once you get that one customer, that is going to be a reoccurring payment until they cancel, and more often than not, the people just simply don't cancel. Now, whenever it comes to subscription business models and how you can get started with this on your own, there are tons of different paths that you can pursue. Of course, we kind of see it in a grand scheme thing where we look at Netflix, or we look at Hulu, or we look at Apple Music as like the creme de la creme examples of subscription business models. But these exist on a much smaller scale as well, and you don't have to be a Netflix-sized company in order to take advantage of a subscription model business. For example, you could start a subscription style side hustle with things like Patreon, which is like a content creation site for content creators where you pay a monthly membership. Additionally, you could do like lawn care services or pool services where customers will pay you a monthly fee on a subscription basis to come out and do their lawn care or their pool care, and they will continue to pay that until they cancel. Alternatively, going with things like making a product and then selling that on a subscription service. For example, my fiance and I used to have a hot sauce subscription where we would get new hot sauce each and every month. There are so many different ways that you can implement a subscription-based business model. And the great thing is that once you get people in the door, it is highly likely that they will stick around for at least an extended period of time, which means more profit into your pocket. The next one that I want to talk about is direct to consumer. Now, this is a really big one that has been taking the e-commerce space by storm over the last couple of years. One of the most prominent examples is the sunglass company Warby Parker. In fact, while researching for this video, this business model, the direct-to-consumer business model, was referred to as the Warby Parker business model more than once. The reason why this is being dubbed the Warby Parker business model is because Warby Parker took this business model and executed it to perfection. In the case of Warby Parker, they are a sunglass company making really high-quality sunglasses at a low-quality price. And the reason why Warby Parker was able to execute on this so successfully is because Warby Parker realized that 70% of sunglasses are manufactured by the same manufacturer, and that is a manufacturer called Luxottica Optical Manufacturing. Luxottica is the middleman for the vast majority of sunglasses that we see being sold online. For example, Ray-Bans, a popular sunglass manufacturer that I'm sure most of us have heard of, they are actually produced by this company, Luxottica. And in the case of Ray-Bans, they have to have their sunglasses manufactured by this company, and then they sell the sunglasses to you. But the reason why these sunglasses are oftentimes very expensive is because not only Ray-Bans has to make a profit, but Luxottica does as well. Well, what happens if you cut out this middleman, if you cut out Luxottica? Well, in this case, your costs are significantly lower, and thus you can sell your sunglasses at a lower price as well. And this is exactly what Warby Parker has done. Now, Warby Parker is a really prominent example of the direct-to-consumer business model, but they actually aren't the most prominent. The most prominent would have to go to Amazon, which also uses this business model as well, through their Amazon Choice line. If you've ever shopped on Amazon, which again, I'm sure most of us have, you've probably seen that a number of their items are labeled as Amazon Choice, which means that Amazon has produced these items. They are doing this exact same thing. They are taking the product that they are selling, and rather than having a manufacturer or third-party company manufacture it for them, they are manufacturing it themselves, and thus they can sell it for cheaper. Another great example of this would be Casper Mattresses, which has done this exact same thing. The next one is my favorite one on this list, and that is a marketplace business model. That's wherever you create a marketplace that people can use in order to sell goods or services. For example, things like Turo, Airbnb, Craigslist, Lyft, these would all be considered marketplace business models. Now, we've talked about this a ton on this channel, so I'm just gonna skim over it here, but there are so many different examples of marketplace business models out there. I mean, Turo, Airbnb, Lyft are very prime examples of this, but these exist on a much smaller scale as well. Now, this is again one of those things that is more difficult to implement, but if you can figure out a good thing and a good service or need that needs kind of a facilitation, a marketplace in order to really take advantage of this, then that would be a great time to start that type of business. Marketplaces aren't going away. The virtual world is becoming larger and larger. People are working more from home. People are embracing the side hustle and gig economy world more than ever, and the need for marketplaces is only going to expand. It will not contract. And so with that, I think that creating a marketplace-focused business with a marketplace business model is an excellent route to pursue if you have the know-how in order to do it. The next one is the Razer Blade business model. Now, this is one that we've all experienced as consumers, but it's one that I actually didn't know that it was called the Razer Blade business model until researching for this video. Now, what this means is whenever they will typically sell one product at a really competitive price, and this will typically be at a loss for the company, meaning that the company doesn't make any money when they sell this product. They'll typically, in fact, lose money. But the caveat here is that they will sell a companion product at a premium price where they make a lot of profit and the margin is very, very high. A really common example of this is video games. A lot of video game companies like PlayStation or Xbox, they typically do not make money off of the consoles that they sell. They actually, in fact, typically lose money. But they make money off of the games and the accessories that they sell, which are considered companion items. Another really prominent example of this is car dealerships. Oftentimes, car dealerships make very little, if any, money off of the actual cars that they sell, and where they actually make their money is through service or through the add-ons that they sell on the vehicle. This is something that is so common, and it's something that you could absolutely implement in your own life. It would just be a matter of figuring out, okay, what are these two companion items? What are two items that I can create and that I can sell, one at an extremely cheap price and the other at a premium price? Once you figure that out, then you can execute the Razer Blade business model. The next one that I want to talk about is, again, one of my favorites, and I personally think that it's the easiest one that you can execute with any business that you start. And this is the freemium business model. Basically, what this is whenever companies offer a free service as a way to gain trust with the customer, but then they have a premium service that the customer can then pay for. One of the best examples of this business model is Spotify, and they do this so well. Spotify offers a free service where you can access songs, you can access the app at no cost, but there are severe limitations to the free version. You don't get to pick your songs, you have to listen to advertisements, there isn't a ton of flexibility. And so because of this, people ultimately end up signing up for the premium version, which is exactly what I did. Another example is Zoom. Zoom is free to use, but there is limitations to the free membership. For example, you can't do meetings that are 45 minutes or longer if you have 3 attendees or more. This is something that if you're in a business setting can be very, very inconvenient, which means that you will ultimately end up buying the premium service. Now, there are tons of examples of this. Spotify is, in my opinion, one of the best, but there are a lot of different ways that you can implement this exact same business model with your own business. For example, let's go back to the lawn mowing service that I mentioned earlier. If you had a lawn mowing service, you could offer free consultations or free lawn evaluations. So you can go out to the client's yard, you can tell them what they should do, what they shouldn't do, how they can improve their yard. You can gain some rapport with them, and then thus they will have a higher likelihood of hiring you when it comes to doing their lawn work. If you work in marketing, you could offer one free marketing consultation, or you could offer to create them one Facebook ad for free. There are so many different ways you can go about doing this, and they may not all be the exact freemium business model, but you can take the freemium business model and spin it to fit your own business needs, and you can really use that to get more clients and thus make more money. Now, ultimately, when it comes to starting a business, it can be an extremely daunting task, and a lot of people don't know where to start. Starting with your business model can be a really great approach because it takes so many questions out of the equation. Once you know what type of business model you pursue, there's a much clearer path forward. But if you don't know what type of business model you pursue, there's just simply too many options to choose from. So I would encourage you to, number one, figure out what product or service you want to explore, and then number two, figure out what type of business model you want to pursue. Once you have those two questions answered, the rest of the journey will be significantly easier. But like always, you guys, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.